6 years after the meltdown of the nuke plant. The New York Times reported this, that the city officials are working to clear out the contaminated boar population in the area. I didn't know that they had wild boar near the nuke plants. That's or the city there. Interesting. I guess I don't live over there, but that's it's a unique story. These city officials worry that these boars will attack returning residents, and some of these animals are reportedly living in abandoned homes. So there you go. We need a strong hunting plan. Haintijo, the mayor of the nearby town called Soma, he says, I wish for the day to come when we can eat wild game again. You don't want to eat these wild boar. Hunters have been reportedly hired and have so far, they've killed about 800 of these wild contaminated boars that are radioactive. And the report points out that boar meat is a delicacy, apparently in northern Japan, but the animals in the area are considered too toxic to eat. So the county is working to stabilize the region in general, and most residents of Fukushima say they will not return to their homes due to fear of radiation. What's more, it will take 40 years to dismantle that plant. And the Fukushima disaster at one point forced more than 150,000 people to abandon their homes, and that number has decreased significantly as more of those areas have been decontaminated, and the government pushes to showcase the reconstruction. The subsidies for evacuees outside of Fukushima will be cut later this month. So international studies of Fukushima have predicted that cancer rates will not rise as a result of the nuclear accident, though some researchers say that the rate of thyroid cancer, interesting enough, is higher than what is generally found and could be related to this radiation. And a report says that the video footage that shows that these Japanese towns overtaken by wild animals, there was a large population of rat colonies and unkept dogs and boars. This is information from the Associated Press and the New York Times, both contributed to the story for my research. Very, very interesting. I have a brother that lives over there, so occasionally, I'll just look at that, and man, that could have been a whole lot worse. Some of that radioactivity actually spilled into the Pacific, to, over here, it made it to the States. But they say it wasn't of levels to be of any concern. What the biggest concern now for Californians is the sewage from Tijuana. Millions of gallons of raw sewage into the Pacific Ocean. Disgusting. I know it's got to go somewhere. And there's been reports here in Florida that just, the weather's warming up and you want to enjoy the Gulf of Mexico here in Florida. And we even have problems here in our own state. But it's interesting. They say there's just not enough now to make you sick, but we know there's millions of gallons that have also been leaked in because of accidents here in Florida. And I just get so grossed out because, when you go in, there's a certain amount that just ends up in your mouth. Now, they say, well, you got salt on there. I don't know if salt just purges everything. I just don't know. But definitely makes you ponder for sure. Now, here's a story that will get you going here. And, CNN, they are horrible. But if you're a left-leaning loon and you just can't get enough of fake news, then CNN is probably your answer. But they're looking for ratings, and they're trying to get ratings. And Raza Assad is facing a backlash after eating, of all things, guess what? Human brain with a Hindu cannibalistic sect on his new CNN show, Believer. It's a real show that CNN puts on. And Reza, I guess he's eating the human brain on the show. And it's meant to explore a variety of faith-based groups around the world, but his exploration into a cannibalistic sect in India has many people up in arms of what they say is a misrepresentation of Hinduism. And a lot of Hindus are not very, very happy about this. Hawaii Congresswoman is not very happy. Gabbard, first Hindu member of Congress, tweeted her disappointment over the show. While good people across our country are working hard to increase mutual understanding and respect between people of different religions, she tweeted, I am very disturbed that CNN is using its power and influence to increase people's misunderstanding in fear of Hinduism. And the head of the Republican Hindu Coalition, Shala Kamerhead, tweeted, I condemn Raza CNN for airing Believer with fiction and disguising attack on Hindus for supporting POTUS and Stephen Bannon and Newt Gingrich, okay, for whatever that is. The U.S. India Political Action Committee issued a statement urging CNN to cancel the show. People are not happy. So CNN, well, to CNN's credit, though, I mean, that's kind of disgusting. I've heard of people eating monkey brains, but human brains? That's it's pretty nasty. I don't think you're eating somebody that died just because you wanted to eat their brain, or did you? Well, that would be interesting to come to the bottom of it, but apparently they were just doing a news story on what was newsworthy. So maybe CNN didn't do anything wrong necessarily, and Hindus got upset, and apparently it's a Hindu tribe that actually is eating these brains. That's kind of a freaky story. I don't think all Hindus eat brains. I'll have to ask a good Hindu. I'll have to ask my friend Mario over at Marcella. I got this, got the best naan. Do you like Indian? You have to have a taste for it. Oh man, I love their buffet. It's absolutely delicious. If I wasn't hungry, I would head down there right now, but I like good Marcella. It's called Bombay Marcella. That's the name. It's on Waters in Tampa, if you're ever in the Tampa Bay area. It's a little place, but it's got good food and good people. And I'll ask Mario. I just don't think that the guy's eating brains. And I hope they're not serving another buffet. No, I know for a fact they're not. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's been back and forth with Trump on the Twitter sphere, and Trump predicted, and to Trump's credit, Schwarzenegger, I'll be back, did not do very well in The Apprentice. And as a matter of fact, he quit. I could have told you that he was going to make it. I mean, come on. Seriously, to take Arnold Schwarzenegger seriously in a boardroom? Come on. Here's the deal. Arnold Schwarzenegger, definitely a very talented actor, and I loved him with Twins and Danny DeVito and some other movies that he was in. But he's an actor. And yes, Donald Trump acted like an actor too, or did he? Many people that say that they know Donald Trump or knew Donald Trump said that was Donald Trump. That's how he negotiated. That was his poker face. This is what he did. This is what he's going to be doing in Washington. And, interesting enough, maybe he'll actually start firing a bunch of people in the government like Abraham Lincoln did. We'll get to that story in just a little bit. But interesting thing. So Schwarzenegger, he's got to find another gig. So he's considering a run. I'm not even kidding, for the U.S. Senate in 2018, according to Politico, but the actor is reportedly eyeing the Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat, who is up for re-election in 2018. This would give Arnold the stage to jump Trump for the next 16 months, to kind of jam them up. That's an unnamed GOP strategist who's telling Politico this earlier today. And a representative for Schwarzenegger did not immediately return comment to Fox News, but Schwarzenegger and Trump, as you know, have been battling on Twitter for months after Celebrity Apprentice, the ratings just plummeted. Pretty bad. All right, I'll be back. You're going to become a Democrat and be more of a thorn. Well, that'll give him something to do. That'll give him purpose. He can't run for the POTUS slot. He can run for governor, and he was able to do that. He can run for senator. He can do that. But it just, this guy is such a flip-flopper and such a puke himself. And just the stories from his concubine housekeeper in California, she was just absolutely, I'm sorry. And I feel sorry for her, believe me. But she was pretty fugly. Maria Shriver was classy. And Schwarzenegger does not have good taste in women, apparently, from what many of his friends say. He goes for the fugly ones. And the ones that are not very bright. Let's just say that. Maria was a little bit too smart for Schwarzenegger. And by the way, he did not make a very good governor out there because he ran the state's economy straight to the bottom. Even Jerry Brown, his reelection, he's done better for the economy out there to try to resurrect. Schwarzenegger is definitely a terrible politician, in my opinion. Might be a tall guy, might be a well-known guy, but I just think if this is where the left is going to go to bring Schwarzenegger out, he's no Ronald Reagan. And maybe Donald Trump may not exude all the qualities, but I think that he does in some sense, that he has a true love, affinity for this country and has the right stuff to move our country forward in a way that needs it in the worst way. Sean Hannity, they say that's taboo. Never mention another talk show host or another TV show, but I do, and I reference it because if he comes out with stuff that's relevant and things that I've even said that Trump should do, he references back in 1861 that President Abraham Lincoln back then created a so-called team of rivals, and it was a cabinet of adversaries that he ran against in the Republican primary, but that while Lincoln sought to unify his party through these cabinet selections, he also cleaned house in the federal government. That's what I'm talking about. He fired more than 75% of the executive branch employees, at the time nearly 1,200 people. And why? He had reason to fear they could be disloyal. And I think a lot of that stuff, I think he's right on the money. I think, I've said that there's probably a cleaning of the house. And what did he do on The Apprentice? You're fired. Get out. There's going to have to be a purging of the house. I think there's too many leaks, too many disloyals and loyalists to Barack Hussein Obama. I think President Trump would probably do well to follow Lincoln's example and probably end up firing anyone and everyone who is actively working against him in government. He referenced that former President Bill Clinton utilized this tactic back in 1993. He fired 93 U.S. attorneys. According to Conservative Review's Daniel Horowitz, he did it. And Clinton easily fired 93 U.S. attorneys on day one, according to Horowitz. And nobody blinked an eye. But yet when Bush's attorney general fired 8 U.S. attorneys well into a second term, that became a national scandal. So why could not Donald Trump do the same thing? I believe it's going to happen. I think there's a lot of disloyal, unpatriotic idiots, and they're going to need to be rooted out and fired and start from scratch, because Washington draining the swamp is going to require that very thing to happen. And it'll be the betterment for our country and for all its citizens. in the worst way it needs to happen, because Donald Trump will have a problem.